In this tutorial we're going to see like a first step with layer masks. Sure, you heard a lot about different effects that people does with layer mask, but the most important information while working with mask is that we're going to be making visible things invisible. So it's a way of erasing things without destroying them and making them able to come back again. So if we are working with layer mask, we are always working with black and white. And everything that gets painted in black is going to disappear, and everything that is going to be painted in white is going to appear. I like to bring up this information into my mind, like something that is in the dark we are not going to be able to see, and something that is brought up to light, it's something that we are going to have it visible. So that's why the black and white idea. So we have as well over 200 shades of gray, which is going to bring a transparency into the mask. So we're not just working with the full black and the full white, but we can as well be working with transparency depending on the darkness of the gray color that you're going to be using. I have here an example of something that we could be using and illustrate this idea and to understand this a little bit better. We have here our layer with the bee. I'm going to erase or make invisible, better saying, the whole surrounding from this part of the illustration so that the bee is going to be flying without staying on top of this one flower. To do so, I have to open a new layer mask, and I find my layer mask here on the bottom of the layers, or I would be able to go to the menu and open a new layer mask. And we can see now that I have two windows. I have one window with my illustration and a second window which is for now fully white. It means everything is on the light, everything is visible. So if I click on one side or in the other side, I would have the black frame on the active layer. So I have now the black color on. So at the moment I would start painting, we're going to see the full black color because I'm on the area of the layer with the image. So this is not what I want. What I want is to be working on the mask. So I just click on the mask and I'm going to have this black frame on the layer mask. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. It's going to be a little bit blurry. It's not so bad. And at the moment I start bringing up some black, we're going to see here as well on the layer mask I have now some black information on this layer. I'm going to make some area disappear. I'm going to be doing this quite fast just to pass the idea, but if you have here now the white color on and I would start painting with the white, we're going to be making this whole information that I just erased then visible again. So I'm just going to change this again. Like if I put the color to the front is the color which is going to be active and the one that I can be using. And I'm decreasing the size of my brush. This is a very short resolution kind of image, so if you have a high resolution kind of image, it's a bit easier to be working with. But I really like to zoom in a lot so that I'm sure that I don't have any information from what should stay underneath it. And if you're working with a colored background, it's even more important to have this area masked as good as possible so that you don't have like a colored frame around your illustration. I use this layer mask a lot as well. If I have like a sketch and I've sent it to the client and the client would like to have something corrected or some changes on the illustration, and I would not like to destroy the first illustration, sometimes I just really use layer mask to make this part invisible, or sometimes just to make the illustration with a empty of background so that they can put the illustration on a colorful background. I like to clean the illustration with layer mask instead of erasing it. Sometimes if you're erasing it, you may destroy something that was important, or you may make something invisible that actually was important for the illustration. And working with layer mask, you can always go back and make some correction. So here we have a little bee, and we can just put her anywhere we want now on the illustration without having the background information disturbing. So I'll just zoom out a little bit. And now we can see I can just really, well, here we can see we didn't clean it so well. So I'll go back again and I'm going to correct this. So now I'm grabbing the layer tool and I could just bring up here or make her fly out of the image. Another option to be working with layer mask would be, for example, if I would like to have an image like this, which is like a very squarey image fitting on a white background without having this very strong corner going on here. I could, for example, fill up with Command F the layer that was open just right now with, for example, a white color. I could open a layer mask and I could just grab a tool that gives us a little bit like a spray, like for example an airbrush. And airbrush would work as well with this grayscale that I was talking to you before. I will increase a lot the size of my brush. I'll go back to black and I could, for example, clean up here, and now I could just make my image a little bit less visible. Let me check. Maybe I'll go back to Wachshaber. It's easier to be cleaning things with this brush. And then I could just clean a little bit more the parts that are important to be seen, that are in the front. Well, you should take more time to be doing this kind of stuff with more details, and detail in this kind of work is extremely important. Like cleaning work on image is extremely important for you to be working with a lot of time and patience. And I really recommend to zoom in so that you don't really have this strange frame, color frame on areas that you would like to have it free. So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit more. Maybe here as well. Some grass coming out. The good thing about this tool is it works very nicely on details. If you don't do too much pressure, it gives you a very thin kind of brush. So, okay. So let us check how this looks like. I'll just go 100%. It's not bad. Maybe the little fly that is up here, I'll make it visible. The B that I had before, I can bring it to the top. And like this, I have an image that if I would like to grow to the top a little bit, it's not such a strong frame going on here. We can just try this together once. If I enlarge the image to the top, like 2000 pixels. Well, here we still have a tiny little bit going on. Okay, so I was in the wrong layer. So you can see now that I don't really have this very strong line separating now my illustration from the background. I have it a little bit more free and it puts everything together. I hope you understand how layer mask works now, and we're for sure going to have more tutorials using layer mask for other illustrative kind of goals. Okay, have fun.